On March 30th, 1968, in the small town of Charlemagne, Quebec, a baby girl arrived as the 14th child in a family already stretched thin. Her parents, Thérèse Dion and Adhémar Dion, did not have wealth or fame to offer their children, only determination, faith, and music. The house was crowded, meals were carefully stretched, and winters often felt longer when money was tight. Yet inside those walls, something extraordinary was growing. Music filled the home like a second heartbeat. Adhémar played the accordion, Thérèse sang with warmth and emotion, and the older siblings harmonized together. For the youngest daughter, Céline Dion, music became more than sound. It became the language of survival. Before she ever stood on a stage or faced a microphone, she learned that songs could comfort, unite, and carry hope through the hardest moments. A kitchen table that became the first stage. Celine's first stage was not glamorous. It was a kitchen table. At just 5 years old, she climbed onto it and began singing for her family. What happened next stayed with everyone in the room. The noise of a house filled with 14 children suddenly faded. Her parents and siblings listened in stunned silence. Even at that age, her voice carried a power far beyond childhood play. It wasn't only the strength of the sound, it was the emotion behind it. Those early performances were informal, filled with laughter and encouragement, but they planted the seed of something bigger. Her parents noticed that when Celine sang, people stopped and listened. It was a simple realization, yet it held the beginning of a remarkable journey. Music was not just a hobby for the youngest Dion child. It was becoming her path forward, one that would eventually carry her far beyond the small town where everything began. The demo tape that changed everything. When Celine was 12, her mother believed strongly enough in her daughter's gift to take a bold step. She wrote a song called Ce n'était qu'un rêve, meaning, it was only a dream, and recorded a homemade demo with Celine singing. The tape was sent to music manager René, a respected figure in Quebec's music industry. At first, it looked like just another submission among hundreds, but when Angelil pressed play, something unexpected happened. The voice he heard was powerful, emotional, and unmistakably unique. When he met Celine in person and heard her sing in a modest living room, he was deeply moved. Convinced that the young girl possessed a once-in-a-generation talent, he made an extraordinary decision. Angelil mortgaged his own home to finance her first album. It was an enormous risk, but one that revealed the depth of his belief in her voice. Building a star with patience and disciplined success in Quebec came quickly for Celine's early French albums, but René Angelil understood that global recognition would require preparation. Instead of rushing into international fame, he carefully shaped the next phase of her career. Celine worked tirelessly on her craft, studying English, refining her stage presence, and learning how to navigate the demands of the music industry. None of these changes altered the heart of who she was. Instead, they strengthened the foundation beneath her extraordinary voice. What made her different was not just vocal ability, but emotional honesty. When she sang, listeners felt something deeply personal. It was as though each song carried a piece of real experience. Through discipline and patience, the young singer from Charlemagne was gradually transforming into an international artist. Behind the scenes, the partnership between Celine and René continued to grow, built on trust, loyalty, and a shared belief in the journey ahead. A song that became a global memory. In 1997, Celine recorded a song that would become one of the most recognizable ballads in modern history, My Heart Will Go On, the theme from the film Titanic, directed by James Cameron. The recording process was surprisingly simple. Celine sang the song in a single take, capturing an emotional spontaneity that producers decided to keep. When the film became a global phenomenon, the song followed closely behind. It played on radios everywhere and became part of weddings, celebrations, and moments of remembrance. For millions of people, her voice became tied to memories of love and loss. By the end of the decade, Céline Dion had sold tens of millions of records and performed on stages around the world. Yet behind the success and the applause, her life was about to take a more personal and difficult turn. Loss that changed everything. In January 2016, René Angelil passed away after battling cancer once again. The loss was profound. He had been Céline's partner, mentor, and greatest supporter for more than 3 decades. Just 2 days later, her brother also passed away after a long illness. The emotional weight of these back-to-back losses was immense, yet even during that painful time, Céline showed remarkable strength. She spoke publicly about her husband with deep love and gratitude, remembering the life they had built together. A few months later, she returned to the stage in Las Vegas. It was not about returning to fame. It was about honoring the man who had believed in her voice from the beginning. For her, continuing to sing became a way of keeping his memory alive and sharing the resilience he had always encouraged in her. Facing a rare health challenge. In 2022, Celine revealed that she had been diagnosed with stiff person syndrome, a rare condition that affects the nervous system and can cause severe muscle stiffness and spasms. The diagnosis forced her to cancel tours and step away from performing once again. For someone whose life had been built around singing and movement on stage, the challenge was deeply personal. Still, she approached it with the same determination that had guided her throughout her career. With the support of doctors, therapists, and her family, she began focusing on rehabilitation and recovery. Her sons became a source of motivation and strength. Though the future remained uncertain, she made it clear that her goal was to regain the ability to perform again, not out of obligation, but because music had always been her way of connecting with the world. A voice that still carries hope. Céline Dion's story is not simply about fame or record sales. It is about resilience, love, and the ability to keep moving forward even when life becomes unpredictable. From a small home in Quebec to the world's largest stages, her journey has been shaped by courage and dedication. Every song she sings carries a piece of that life experience, the joy, the grief, and the hope that remains afterward. Today, she continues focusing on her health while staying close to her family. Whether she stands on stage again or not, the impact of her voice is already woven into the memories of millions. Her music reminds people that strength can exist alongside vulnerability, and that even the most powerful voices come from very human stories. In the end, Céline Dion's legacy is not just the sound of her singing, it is the emotion and truth that have always lived within it.